Hi everybody, it's Thursday night. Welcome to Now You're Cooking. We have another cooking demo and we have a gaggle of friends here from Maze Cafe that are going to be making a Swedish cream dessert and talking about what's happening at Maze under new ownership, right?
Right.
Before we get to that, I wanted to mention the Be Bath Buy Bath program, which is going on now through March, and how it works is you visit 4 different stores in town and you're going to get a card like this. Each store will give you a bee sticker and put their name on the back, and then you fill out your name and phone number, and we have 2 beehives to put these in. One is at City Hall and one is down at the other end of the street. So make sure you participate in that. You can enter to win. There's a drawing every week for a $75 gift of Bath and a $25 gift of Bath, so it pays to shop in Bath. Also want to mention that next week we have a couple of guys from Bombay Mahal coming up, and they're going to be talking about their new beer that they've helped develop, which is called Rupee, and it's an Indian style ale, and it's really, really good. They're also going to be making chana masala. And then the week after that, Diane and I are going to be making cream horns, and they are delicious. Don't mean to step on your toes here, but they're really delicious and super easy to make and really fun. And then at the end of the month is Winterfest here in Bath. It's a Main Street Bath production, and there's tons of things going on. There's a disc golf competition and all kinds of fun stuff. We are also going to be having a great sale on multi-cookers. So Thursday the 24th, Mike is going to be making, I think, a cheesecake in a multi-cooker. And then we're going to have a sale on the 6-quart multi-cookers. They're going to be $99 a piece. And they are so fun to cook with, and you can do all kinds of great stuff with that. So Winterfest is the 25th, 26th, and 27th of March. So make sure you come to Bath over that weekend and check it out. Not March. February. I said March. It's not March. It's February. And now for Maze, this is Julie and Rachel and Courtney, and they are going to show you how to make a delicious Swedish cream.
Well, we can't thank you all enough for having us here today. Louisa, Mike, Heather. This is our favorite store in town, as you probably can guess, and we're just thrilled that Maze is still open. We are doing something brand new this year. We're opening for all of February, so please come see us. We're only closed one day, which is Tuesday, so we now have Wednesdays open. So we're hoping to do some really fun classes and events. Our first event that we're holding is going to be our prefix that we're holding next Friday and Saturday for Valentine's Day, and it's a lovely 4-course meal that Now You're Cooking has helped us select some gorgeous wines for each course, and we couldn't be more excited about that. We're also going to be doing some signature cocktails to start out. So we've got a really fun penicillin drink that's made with bourbon. We've got a lovely prosecco drink, and we're going to be doing some really amazing mocktails. We actually got these at Now You're Cooking, and it's a very cool company. These are cordials, and then we have elderflower, and then elderflower and pomegranate, and really sky's the limit with these. You don't ever want to feel like you're missing out, because these drinks are so gorgeous. You can do infusions. We also have these 2 bitters, which are really fun, that are from Vina and Portland, which we also got here. And we're just having a blast the last 2 weeks, coming up with some really fun cocktails and mocktails for the event. And this recipe that we're doing today harkens back to the early days of Maze, when it was Kristina's. And our baker, who's been with us forever, who's a little camera shy, we adore her, but she's like, it's all you guys. But Steph came up with the idea of pairing a delicious Swedish cream recipe today. So that's what we're doing, and we're also going to have a decadent chocolate torte, but I'll let the gals tell you about that. But thank you once again for having us. Please come see us at Maze, and we're thrilled to be open.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Swedish cream, which it actually is such a simple recipe that it does not take 2 people to make it, but it's fun to make it with 2 people.
We want you to see them, because they work so hard to make such gorgeous things.
We will get started. Very simple ingredients.
So this is very similar to custard or a mousse, but it's easier than both of those things. It relies on gelatin for the thickening power. You probably could use agar if that's something you prefer to use, but you'd want to increase the amounts if you're used to cooking with that. You know just what to do. But I think we're just going to launch right into it. So we have a saucepan here, and I'm going to go ahead and pour a pint, 2 cups of heavy cream into our saucepan.
Reserve a little bit.
And yes, thank you, Courtney. That's why we both came.
So reserve a little bit.
And then with the little bit that we have left in this measuring cup, and I'm actually going to pour a little bit more of this in here, I am going to use 1 whole packet of gelatin. If you're using gelatin that comes in a larger container, or you want to measure it out for some reason or another, one of these packets is somewhere between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2 teaspoons. So you'd want to use, if you were going to have the recipe, you would just want to use 1 1/4 teaspoons. If you double it, go ahead and double that to 5 teaspoons. So I'm just softening the gelatin. That just means I'm getting it started on absorbing some liquid so that it dissolves easily when we add it to our hot mixture in a little bit. So I'm just sprinkling that evenly over the surface of that reserved cream.
In the meantime, this is heating up, and we're going to put our sugar right in there.
So I have a cup of sugar here, roughly.
Oh, that was too bad. And we're going to whisk that.
Yeah,
I can do
I'll
that.
hand you the whisk.
All right.
Perfect. And then you're just dissolving the sugar and heating the cream. You don't want to bring it to a boil. It's just heating it enough so that it would dissolve both the sugar and then the gelatin, which we're eventually going to add to that.
And you can use a candy thermometer if you want to get it up to 160, but you just want to make sure it doesn't boil, as you said.
Yeah. This is something that you don't want to put on the stove and walk away from, thinking that you'll have time to do something else. It's when you're doing it, this kind of thing, you want to stay right there with the saucepan, feeling it dissolve.
And this is more or less the only time you really need to pay attention during this recipe. The rest of it comes together very, very quickly.
Okay, in the meantime, this is dissolved.
You can see how it's thickening up already.
And I'm going to pour this slowly in and whisk. All right.
And we're going to wait to put the extracts in until after this comes off the heat, because we don't want to cook off. When you use an extract rather than another, like a whole vanilla bean, you could cook with this if you wanted to make it extra fancy, or you could use a vanilla bean paste, and that doesn't cook off the same way that an extract does. But we're going to wait for this to heat all the way and for that sugar to be dissolved, and then we're going to go ahead and stir the extracts into it. And what we have here is a mixture, an equal mixture, about a teaspoon each of vanilla extract and an almond extract. But like I said, you could use a vanilla bean. You really could flavor this with whatever you wanted. But vanilla and almond are traditional for Swedish cream. Now Your Cooking has this great vanilla extract here and lots of other choices if you want to get creative with it.
Rather than wait the 10 minutes that we would stare at the pan for 10 minutes.
Miracle of science. Time
10
lapse.
minutes has passed, and then we will add our extracts. And then, do you want to use the...
Sure. Yep.
And then we'll put in our sour cream.
Yeah, perfect. I'll hand that to you.
Okay,
And then I
and
will
then we'll
go
hopefully
ahead and
not have a
submerge
splatter.
that. Give it a little burp here. So we have two we have 2 cups of sour cream here as well.
These immersion blenders are great. They work so fast, but you could use a whisk if you don't have one.
Yeah.
Just
When
takes a little more elbow
when I
grease.
made this earlier, I used a whisk, so you can do either.
Yep. And it's already starting to thicken up because that sour cream is cold and the gelatin is dissolved, and it's now starting to set. And I think we're probably ready for the rest of it. isn't
And
it?
then we'll finish that off.
So the sour cream is great. It cuts through the sugar a little bit, adds some acidity, and it's a great foil for that fruit or fruit puree that you're going to add as a garnish and as an additional flavor element. think we are pretty well mixed here.
What's really nice about this recipe is you can really choose any type of container to put it in. It can be all in one, or you can choose little ramekins. This is really nice to put in a martini glass, kind of makes it, dresses it up.
Yep. Now your cooking carries these beautiful little coupe glasses. They're a great choice as well.
Right now we're going to use some of these, and we'll pour the cream into those. Which could be dangerous. Okay. And then once they are filled up, you put them in the fridge and let them set. And I'd say if you make it in the morning, they're ready to go by the evening, even afternoon, ready for evening. You just pour it in. And you are done with a very decadent, lovely dessert.
Absolutely. And if you choose to garnish this before it's set, this is a raspberry puree. It's just slightly sweetened, just straight raspberry and sugar, which Julie made earlier. So if you want, you can do the clever little thing on the top before it sets. And we can just add a few dots of that on. Really, I should have Courtney do this because she's better at it than I am, but we'll prove that even an absolute novice pastry person
Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, so
handle
simple
something
and
like
beautiful.
Gorgeous. Okay.
And then if you want to garnish with fresh fruit, if you've watched the Great British Baking Show, you know you never put naked fruit on something because it just doesn't have the same polish. So what I'm going to do is I have simple syrup here. There are so many recipes for this online. You can do different thicknesses of it, but it's basically equal parts water and sugar, and just bring them to a boil and let it really thicken a little bit. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of lemon to it as well, just to prevent that sugar from crystallizing again, because acid will help with that. So I'm just going to take our fruit, which has a natural bloom on the surface, which is going to resent being dipped in simple syrup for a minute here, and coat it with simple syrup. I love watching the bubbles on the surface. And then once that's coated, I say, as it repels all the simple syrup, we can also garnish with some fresh fruit.
Beautiful.
And that will help prevent your fruit from drying out too much as these sit in the fridge. They don't really seem to form much of a skin on top either, like pudding does. So it's fine to leave them uncovered as long as you're serving sometime that day, probably is what I would recommend. You also obviously can wait to garnish until everything is all set and ready to eat as well, but I think that's really it. That's Swedish cream.
Swedish cream. And for our dinner, for the Valentine dinner, and also at May's right now, we have a lot of other Valentine treats that you can choose from. These can be pre-ordered. They're available for pickup any day. We, for the most part, will have cookies from this point on until Valentine's Day, the cupcakes, some of the love chocolate cake, and we're happy to take your orders up until, I believe, the 11th. And even with cookies, if you have an idea that you'd like to have a signature cookie, maybe have your loved one's name written on a cookie, your favorite teacher's name, I'm happy to do that as well. You can call up and special order that.
And is there still space for the prefix?
Yes, there's a couple of spaces left. We have a few spaces for Friday and a couple for Saturday, but we're really excited, and the desserts are going to be spectacular. The wines will be terrific, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
It sounds wonderful. I also want to mention, since Valentine's is coming up, we have a couple of fun Love You Bunches wines here. There's a red and a rosé, and we also just got in this fruit rosé from Schomsburg, which we will also have available for Valentine's Day. So thank you, ladies. That was really fun, and I bet a lot of people are going to be making that dessert. It looks really easy, and and if you have a best friend to cook with, it'll make it that much more fun.
You could do a Galentine.
There you go.
Exactly.
Galentine.
And we'll see you next week with the guys from Bombay Mahal for Rupi beer and Chana Masala. See you then.